Hello YouTube. This week I've got the keys to a 2018 Honda Accord Touring. Let's take a look. So this is the 2018 Honda Accord. This is a touring trim, which is about 38,000 Canadian, 37,600 and some change. Of course, then you got taxes on top of that. That is including the PDI. It's an automatic transmission, which is a CVT transmission actually, powered by a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine. Pretty small engine. It does output 196 horsepower and 192 horsepower and 192 pound-feet of torque. So it's not bad. Pretty much the same engine that's in the Civic and the CR-V. Tuned a little bit differently for each vehicle. It takes regular fuel, so that is nice. A lot of the turbocharged engines do take premium fuel. It's quite a big car, as you can see on my walk around there. The doors are quite large. I'll just open up this rear door. You can see the size of this thing, and there's a ton of space to get in there. So this is quite a big car. The Accord used to be, mid-size. It's still considered a mid-size, I guess, but it's now quite large. The front door opening there is really big. So let's go back to the trunk here. You'll see the trunk is also quite large. Nice, soft, easy opening trunk, and quite big trunk here. We've got some Christmas shopping in here, and you've got some tools down here, and then underneath your tools you've got a spare tire. And the seats do fold down. You just pull these little levers right here, and they fold down. You're not getting a flat floor, as you can see. You've got kind of just a little small opening there. But the trunk is quite big, actually, just by itself. You could fit a ton of luggage in here. Move along to the back seats. As I mentioned, they're huge. I'm just going to close that front door. We'll hop in the back. You'll see how much legroom we have here. I can kind of lounge out. This is in my driving position, and easily lounge out here. There's a couple of map pockets, one on each side. You've got USB for each side here in the back. You've got this nice kind of wood trim and some pockets here as well. So in the center here, you've got an armrest with some cup holders right there. And so yeah, your backseat passengers are pretty darn comfortable back here, actually. Also back here, you've also got heated seats for the outboard seats, which is kind of nice. Up front, you'll see it's quite nice, nicely decked out with that dark wood trim, and pretty high tech. We got kind of, some people might not like that with the kind of looks like an iPad stuck on the dash. But they've added some hard buttons around it, which helps it out a little bit instead of just a flat panel. It does make it easier to control. So we'll move up and look at that. And I'm just going to show you that the sunroof here. I'm going to close that so there's not too much glare. And so it does have a sunroof as well. So we fire it up. Dash comes to life. It's all digital dash, all electronic. And get rid of that. All right, home. So as you can see here, you can kind of scroll through your settings on the left here. You can say, let's switch that to tachometer. And you can see your tach. And then if you switch this, we've got a sport button, and that kind of goes into a sporty mode, sport off, sport on. And there's also an eco mode, which will control your throttle and transmission shifting. Press home on the steering wheel here, and you've got a bunch of stuff. You can have your range and fuel economy in there. When you switch it to sport, I believe it shows the tach even if you do have a range and fuel economy. No, it doesn't. So you have to switch it to that. So sport on, sport off, back to home. Bunch of things in here: speed and time, audio, phone, navigation, traffic signs, driving support, driver attention, maintenance, safety, warnings, tons of stuff. So you can play with that while you're driving. Some of the things you can't touch while you're driving for safety reasons. I'm going to switch that back to range and fuel economy. And I actually want to talk about that just for a second. Average fuel economy, 7.9 liters per 100 kilometers. This is a very big car. Winter tires, cold outside, amazing fuel economy. I drove it all week. Normal drive for the week. I'd have about half a tank, a quarter of a tank left, and I've got only used a quarter of a tank. I have 3/4 of a tank left, and I did drive a little bit less this week, 230 kilometers it says on here, but still that's pretty good for 230 kilometers. And then that says my range left is 422, so we're like 700 kilometers almost. Up over here on the right hand side, you've got your climate control here, automatic climate control, dual and synced, heated and cooled seats. And these buttons are really nice, and I've noticed when it's cold they turn on defaults to one notch on. They do heat up really quick if you put them on 3 notches. And then I'll just show you what else we got down here at the bottom. We've got this cubby hole with charging as well, QI charging, as well as a USB and a power outlet in there. So you can fit a phone in there. Let's see if my big phone fits in there. Yeah, no problem. I think you can fit. You can pretty much fit, I think, any phone in there. It might even be close to an iPad mini that fits in there. And you can turn that on and off as well. So it says power button, and it's a button, but maybe it always just shows green and then goes away. My phone's not QI enabled, so I can't really test that. Up here on the dash, you've got what looks like an iPad kind of stuck on here, but you've got some buttons, hard buttons left and right. This one's nice to have. You've got your display dimming and off right with a hard button. You go in here and in your home, and you can go through your trip computer, and you can swipe through. It's very responsive. Link with Honda, system updates, hotspot, USB. So I guess you can turn off. Yeah, so you can actually see if you have a device plugged in the back or the front. You can actually connect your devices through there. FM radio, SMS messaging, a bunch of apps. Everything. This thing actually does have quite a bit. It's Android based, and you'll have to play with that to get it how you like it. And it's got navigation as well. I'll go back, audio source, and it does have the volume knob. So Honda's now basically put that volume knob, starting to move that onto all their cars after they added it to the CR-V, after a lot of journalists complained about it not being there, I guess. That back in the park, we've got a couple cup holders here and a very large armrest. There's quite a bit of space in this car. You've got some storage down here with a USB and another power outlet if you need it. So that's 4 USBs in the car so far that I've found. And none in here, but you've got your typical glove compartment there. So on the steering wheel itself, you've got cruise control, you've got lane departure, you've got it's actually got radar cruise, so distance control as well. It's got a head-up display, and you can switch what you want to see on there: TAC, street signs, navigation, and that. So it's really, really useful. You see your speed. If you're cruising on the highway and you've got the radar distance control on, it'll show you if there's a car there or not, and it'll also show you signs, the current speed limit signs. And I actually went through a school zone, and it came up on my screen here. It came up yellow on the screen. It said school zone ahead. That was really useful. I was just driving, looking forward, and I saw this yellow thing in the corner of my eye. I looked over, oh, there's a school zone coming up. So that was kind of cool. You've got Bluetooth controls on here as well, and all important in Canada, heated steering wheel down here. So you got your nice, and the steering wheel, nice thick leather feel. Feels really good. Over on the left-hand side, you've got 2 controls for memory seats, and your rear and front window controls, mirror controls, head-up display control. That's just to raise it and lower it. So camera may or may not pick this up. Depends on the lighting, I find. So it can raise and lower that. Your trip button and your brightness for your dash, and parking sensors on and off, heated heated windshield, but it's just kind of like the wiper area is heated so that it doesn't get stuck. Traction control on and off. And then this button here is actually for your road. It's actually kind of safety button. So it's got road departure mitigation, blind spot system, and collision mitigation braking system. So you can turn those on and off in there as well. Go back over here. We'll put it in reverse. You'll see the camera here. It's a little bit dirty. I should have cleaned it off, but it's a little bit dirty. As you'll see here, the lines move with the steering wheel, which I really like. Makes it really easy to line things up. It's got a super, super wide angle. It's got your normal angle, and then it's got straight down. The straight down is really cool. You can see that there. You can kind of just see the cracks in the road. And it also has this button right here. Doesn't say what it's called, but it's basically, I don't know if they call it cross traffic alert. I remember when Ford came out with it, it was called cross traffic alert. So it'll see cars coming at you from the sides way before you can see them. It's perfect in parking lots. You're backing up, you just put it in reverse. I was in one parking lot, I just put it in reverse, and it started beeping at me, and I'm like, I don't see anything. And then I saw a car starting to come towards me. So, and actually stop beeping if the car stops and waits for you. So I thought that was very, very useful. I'd really like that in my car. So I should probably go over just what's up here. Sunglasses holder, sunroof that I mentioned from the back. It does have a Honda Link safety system. So it's kind of like OnStar, right? It'll call you. You can hit SOS if there's an emergency. This is your basic controls for your sunroof, which I don't want to open because it's really cold outside. And your rear view mirror here, which is pretty nice. It's very thin bezel on it. Power button for the auto dimming. And then it's got 3 buttons for your garage doors as well. The first thing I kind of noticed when I was driving this is I actually had to park it. And it's a really, really big car. And I noticed that the turning circle wasn't that great. Even for a front-wheel drive car, like I was driving, a couple SUVs in a row, and I thought they were fine for turning into parking spots, but I found this thing. Front end is very, very long on it. I'm not quite sure with just a small 1.5 liter engine why it's so big. And it's also available in just a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, so there's not like a gigantic engine going in this thing, but I guess the piping in that for the turbo does take space. But I noticed the turning circle's not that great on it. But besides that, unless you really are hammering on it, it's pretty good. Engine's a little noisy on acceleration, kind of grumbly kind of sounding. A lot of the direct injection engines are like that now. Not much they can do about it, I guess. It's because of the turbocharger, direct injection. It's a small engine, makes some noise. Once you get up to speed and you're cruising, say we're going 80 kilometers an hour, look at our tach here, 1500 RPM. So you don't hear it anymore once you're moving along. You see there, speed limit sign changed. It's now a 60 kilometer an hour zone, and it shows it right up there, which is really nice when the speed limits change. And if you're not paying attention, you'll see them pop up on your head-up display, and then you'll be able to adjust to that. So that's really nice. This thing is a little bit noisy. It's got some rattles up in the dash here. I keep smacking it trying to find where it's coming from. The one day I was coming home on the highway, there was like a whistling sound coming from here, but that's kind of gone. So maybe, the door was closed all the way, but maybe not quite. Maybe I hadn't slammed it enough. It was quite annoying. I tried pulling on the door to see, but it was definitely closed. This rattle, doubt you can pick it up with the road noise, but I can hear it, and that rattle is driving me crazy. There's also a rattle from the glove box once in a while. So just seems like, especially on a car with very low kilometers. Let me switch the trip here, see how many kilometers. 4,000 kilometers, 4,695 kilometers on this car. So this is not an old car. You're looking for sporty. A lot of people are looking for sporty these days. And you're looking for comfort, so the suspension does well, but I've hit a couple of potholes in that, and with the very low profile tires, it feels a little bit unnerving that the suspension is that rough, but it's not loud and noisy. there we have it. This is the 2018 Honda Accord Touring Trim. Left the engine running, so you could hear that ticking sound. That's kind of the direct injection sound. It's quite a big car. I haven't reviewed very many large cars or medium-sized sedans lately. It's usually SUVs. A lot of people want SUVs, so that's what the manufacturers are making. This is almost comparable to the BMW 5 Series I reviewed. It's not quite as big, but it's getting up there in size. I've also got a review of a Chevy Malibu on my YouTube channel. So if you want to take a look at that comparison, I'm kind of maybe I'm a little bit biased. I try not to be, but the Honda I feel is better than that Malibu. Although the Malibu was super quiet and very fuel efficient as well. The suspension on it was kind of clunky, and others seem to agree with me on that one. So there you have it, 2018 Honda Accord Touring. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.